Welcome to a new episode of the podcast Immigration Law. My name is Fabio Loscerbo, immigration lawyer. Today we discuss a decision of the Regional Administrative Court for Piedmont published on 11th of March 2026, which addresses an important issue in immigration law, the economic requirements necessary for obtaining the EU long-term residence permit and for renewing a residence permit for subordinate employment. The case concerns a foreign national who had submitted two applications to the Police Headquarters of Turin. On the one hand, he requested the EU long-term residence permit. On the other hand, he applied for the renewal of his residence permit for subordinate employment. The police authority rejected both requests. The applicant challenged the decision before the administrative court, arguing that the administration's assessment was incorrect. According to the police authority, however, the income requirement had not been satisfied. The tax documentation showed that the applicant's income for the fiscal years 2019 and 2020 was lower than the amount of the social allowance, which represents the minimum threshold required by law for obtaining the EU long-term residence permit. Furthermore, several pay slips submitted by the applicant during the judicial proceedings did not correspond with the electronic employment records linked to the INAIL insurance account, and the financial capacity of the employer also appeared uncertain due to delays in the submission of the company's tax declarations. The court considered the administration's assessment well-reasoned and adequately supported, noting that the applicant had not provided additional documentation demonstrating an improvement in his employment situation in the following years. Another argument raised in the appeal concerned the lack of translation of the administrative decision into the applicant's native language. The court rejected this argument as well, recalling that the absence of translation does not automatically render the decision unlawful, but may only affect the time limits for bringing a judicial challenge. For these reasons, the Administrative Court for Piedmont dismissed the appeal, confirming the lawfulness of the decision adopted by the police authority. This judgment is significant because it reiterates a fundamental principle of immigration law. The income requirement is an essential condition both for the renewal of a work-related residence permit and, even more importantly, for obtaining the EU long-term residence permit. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast Immigration Law. See you soon for the next episode.